Shalom Israel, it's your boy New Breed, aka Brother Emmanuel. I'm gonna take my time with this one in order to process all the thoughts, because I'm doing this pretty much, flat out. It didn't really take much research on this particular topic because it's just certain things that I know from life experiences and knowing people, certain people involved in a gang lifestyle. So, as usual, I'm gonna make some bold claims today. First and foremost, gangs. In this basic documentary, whatever you want to call it, this educational video, what you're gonna be getting is a story about the origin of gangs like told never before. Literally, that's a bold claim there. Because you've seen a lot of gang documentaries. You've seen a lot of people speak on gangs. But not quite in the way that I'm about to do so. So, bold claim number one. The gangs that you think were started organically by people on the streets, street hustlers and gangsters and whatnot, a lot of you are under the impression that these gangs started organically. I'm here to clear that up. It's very untrue. Governments started gangs. The government started gangs. That's right. Not only that, what I'm going to intend to do in this video is pretty much educate you on how, why, and give you some evidence of what I'm saying. And you make your own synopsis once the video is complete. But anyway, first and foremost, Bloods and Crips. Let's start off there. You were told that Tookie Williams started and pretty much pioneered the Crip gang. And it just started off as some young black guys fighting, and they just formulated a gang and organically named it the Crips. And that's pretty much the story you were told. And then another gang, another group of black guys, they were fighting these other guys, and they were just beefing over some type of turf or some neighborhood, and there you go, the Bloods. So now you got Crips and Bloods that develop all over the country, and some even outside of the country. And it's actually worldwide. But we think that's the story. That's how gangs were started. And they make movies perpetuating the same idea. And it's just utterly bogus. It's not true. Truth is, gangs are an extension of the government itself. Beginning with Bloods and Crips, or Crips and Bloods. You have in the government Democrats and Republicans. Democrats being the blue side, Republicans being the red side. And they go against each other. Seemingly, to the public, they go against each other. But of course, the government is one of the same, and it's just two horns of the same beast. So, on the other hand, the actual origin of black on black violence when it comes to red and blue is actually boxing. That's right, the sport of boxing. This is the original red and blue. You would have the Democratic Party on one side representing the blue, and they would have their fighter. And this was even back in slavery times. I'm talking about auction block time, when they were trying to buy the biggest black person to fight another big black person. So you would have the Democratic side representing the blue, and they would have their fighter. And then on the other side, you would have the Republican representing the red, and they would have their fighter. And they would make them fight. Some would even fight to the death. So what's being implemented in these people? They would actually give these people large amounts of whiskey, large amounts of alcohol, and watch them fight each other to death. Now look what we have now. Red and blue fighting against each other to death. Now this video here is really examining a few different things, because a lot of people think it's just nothing but ignorant, lost, and I'm talking about mainly civilized people who go to work every day, who are not involved in any gang activity. They believe that, you gang members were pretty much just fools, and you're just idiots and followers and cowards and all of these things. This is what they think of you. Me, myself, that is not what I think. Here's another bold claim. There is a lot of intelligent, civilized, thinking brothers involved with gangs. But due to our captivity, the captivity of the so-called black man, we've been reprogrammed and we've been searching for a long time for something to cleave to. We want to feel like we belong to something special, when in fact we do. But we belong to something much bigger than the gang. But these intelligent brothers, they've been told that, the Black Panther Party turned into the gangs, so on and so forth. My question to you brothers is, did it become Bloods and Crips before or after the government COINTELPRO program infiltrated the Panthers? Then the gangs were created. These are the questions you gotta ask, because you got a lot of intelligent brothers who actually want to follow a custom that they think is empowering to their people. And a lot of these brothers get involved with gangs. And you got a lot of powerful minds out there who are gangbanging. A lot of brothers with strong leadership qualities, gangbanging. A lot of brothers who live by symbology that they believe is original and they believe it's part of our culture. I'm here to prove today that this same symbology that you believe is our culture is in fact not our culture at all. You must be symbol literate. If you're lacking any type of intelligence, or if you have any ignorance towards symbology, things can slip by you. 6-pointed stars, 5-pointed stars, what is all the meaning? What did they actually derive from? Today we're going to talk about all of that. You got 6-pointed stars, pentagrams, which I think the 5-pointed star is the actual pentagram, but then you got the 6-pointed star. We're going to show all of this symbology because it matches with what the government started. And not only that, your government is full of Freemasons and Satanists. So that same symbology, Freemasonry, is passed on through the Crips and Bloods. It's the same symbology. You got red, you got blue, you got Democrats, you got Republicans, you got brothers fighting brothers. And it just doesn't boil down to doesn't just boil down to brothers fighting brothers. You have all type of ethnicities, involved in gangbanging. I'm here to say all of it is derived from government. Now, A lot of brothers involved in the gangs, like I said before, have very high levels of intelligence, and they want to find a original culture to follow. I'm here to tell you, brothers, that rebellious spirit you got against the powers that be, how much you just sit on the block and say pretty much fuck the cops and fuck the government, everything you stand for, you're being programmed to do exactly what they want you to do because you're under their umbrella of symbology. I remember growing up, they had these crime stories that used to come on, and they would actually make up these fables and make up these allegories of, so it started off with Dante Jenkins. This is how this used to go. I don't remember the name of the show, but maybe I'll find a photo to post it. Started off with Dante Jenkins. So he shot Marcus LeVay Anthony. A whole war broke out. And it would make this whole story of how a gang got started, pretty much. And this behavior will be continually perpetuated throughout society tenfold due to one person's beef, and it just spirals out of control. So they love to tell these stories. And it's amazing because since the beginning of time, you've had different ethnicities fighting and clashing with each other. I'm talking about everybody from the Irish, the Russians, so on and so forth. But now, most of them are politicians. Most of these guys are politicians now. You know, you even got movies on this stuff, Gangs in New York, so on and so forth, where people were just clashing. That's a very natural part of society, which brings me to my next point. You had many people fighting against many people, not just Latino and Latina, not just Mexicans, not just blacks. You got white on white crime. You have Chinese on Chinese crime, which, by the way, makes a really good kung fu movie. No racism intended, but it does. But you have lots of crime, lots of people fight against each other, but what is being perpetuated the most? Black on black crime, or minority on minority crime. Why is this? Why would the government make gangs? New breed? Some would ask. Is that counterproductive for the government or counterproductive for minorities? Let's look at it. So let's go back to the Crips and Bloods. Oh, let's start off with the Crips, because a lot of brothers claim it derived from the Black Panthers, but they couldn't tell you if it's before or after the government infiltrated the Black Panthers. But what have we got from gangs? But violence, loss of life, and our community is still not built up. The gangs have not built our communities up. A lot of you originally, and I'm talking to the OGs out there, a lot of you got into this thing thinking that you were making a difference in your communities. But what ended up happening is you got power drunk. You got a stature in this gang life. You know by now that it's not promoting any type of help for your environment. Although you may be personally attempting to do things. You might be personally attempting to have boys and girls clubs, donate money to the football team, so on and so forth. But do you really think it equals to the loss and bloodshed that's taking place? Do you really think that you're making the hood better. So let's look at it. With all that being said, this brings us to modern day times. This brings us to modern day times, to Chicago. Shot Town. Everything that's taking place in Chicago right now is pretty much a war zone. Lots and lots of gang violence, gang death. Babies, children, toddlers being struck with bullets. Having their lives snatched away from them early from crossfire and stray bullets. This is what's happening. There's many news articles that report this. There was many television broadcasts last summer reporting this. Most of it was due to gang violence. So that we know overall it's perpetuating violence. Overall. Just like those boxers in slavery for the Democrats and Republicans in each corner, fighting to the death. We continue to fight to the death. Now, we're going to talk more about this symbology. I know some things about gangs and the symbology, the 6-pointed star, the points, the point system, how you think it's about honor and loyalty, so forth and so on. You cannot take something that is evil and make it good. A 6-pointed star already has its symbology. Bloods. You can't take a 5-pointed star and make something evil good. Before you were in this country, there were Moloch worship going on. Before you were in America representing a gang, these same symbols were being used on a high satanic, paganistic level. And they continue to use them to divide and conquer. Black man, black woman. Before you got here, these symbols were already in place and being utilized by the powers that be. This country has lied to us all. We've been told that this country was built on fundamental Christian values. It's not true. This country was in fact built on Freemasonry. Every founding father of this country was a Freemason. So-called founding father, because of course there were people on this land before the so-called founding fathers arrived here. They were children of Israel that were here, which were the North American Indians. This is not just about black and white. When I speak about the children of Israel, there are 12 tribes of Israel. And all of them happen to be the so-called minorities. All 12 tribes of Israel happen to be the so-called minorities. What does that tell you? All the minorities seem to be the ones being publicized of being in gangs. How many gangs are being publicized on a national level of white gangs, of Arabic gangs, Chinese gangs? Do they exist? Of course. The NYPD is a gang. The Democrats is a gang. The Republicans is a gang. But why is it that the minorities are being perpetuated? Why do gang members get TV shows? Why do gang members in Chicago, young gang members at that, get so much publicity in the music industry? I can tell you why. To further destroy our people. This message is to the OGs, the ones who are actually critical thinkers, who were looking to do something to help their own kind, who were looking to do something to bring our people out of the situation, and they thought gangs were a good thing. You figured that, well, the police is a gang, Democrats is a gang, Republicans is a gang. Well, we gotta have our own gangs. That was the thought process. But you became an extension of their gang. If you don't have original culture, you'll never build a nation. A nation has to have its own culture. We must find our culture. We are in fact the real children of Israel. Our culture lies in the scriptures. Without the Holy Bible, we are nothing. We thought for years that the Bible was against us. We thought we were being taught somebody else's book. I'm here to let you know, most characters in that Bible are in fact men of color. When we were brought over here in slave ships, we were not being taught the Bible. We were being taught doctrine with a Bible sitting in front of them, which made us repulsed at the idea of following the Holy Bible. I'm here to tell you that the lineage of those people in that book is your people. You must research. You must read. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, gives you slavery. It gives you the curses that our people would face. The whole Bible gives us information about us being discontinued from our heritage and not knowing who we are. So the Muslims were able to creep in. The Christian church was able to creep in. The gangs were able to creep in. Now our youth is walking around on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook Live, pointing pistols in the camera with a rag on, pointed directly at their brother. Because we inherited another culture that does not belong to us, that further destroys us. OG, you want to help? Give our people the truth. You have so much influence. You've brung what you can to the table. Your reason for joining the gang was not correct. Don't let your pride continue to let our youngins fall. Is this system really working for us? Well, this is my message to the OGs. This is a brief summary on the influence of gangs, and it's also the government's role and impact that it has on gangs. With that being said, subscribe, share this video. Shalom, peace.